Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Global. Their part number TC901. This is a standard low-profile door closer, and I have it disassembled from the packaging or removed, and I'll put it back together and show you what it looks like at the very end, what it looks like in the display pack. So this closer is here. Okay. Features a slide track, features an arm, and then of course the body. The outstanding concept of this door closer is that it is capable of handling not only any door swing. There we go. Trying to get the camera to cooperate. Not only any door swing, left or right, push or pull side, and we'll define that in a moment, but it will handle heavy doors and do so in a sleek, elegant sort of design. So the TC901 is made for doors up to 3 foot wide and up to 150 pounds, which is every 3 foot wide door that you're really going to encounter. I can't think of a door that will be heavier than that, short of it being an 18 gauge steel, a 16 gauge steel door, or something that's lead lined, like you'd see in a, which this of course would not be appropriate whatsoever, but something that would be a specific door for a specific application. So it's an unusual application. It probably has an unusual door. Therefore, this closer is probably not appropriate. But for everything else, whether it's the garage door, the side door of your home, an office door in your office, things of restroom doors, this is going to work all the time for your installation. Easy to install. No special tools are required. Can be used on doors that are left hand or right hand. And we're going to go over that in a moment. Can be used whether you are applying it to the pull side of the door or to the push side of the door. So that makes it quite unique. Available with a hold open function, and I'll demonstrate that in a bit. This is the brown color. White is available as well, but this is the brown. Now, speaking of the color, the only thing that is the only shortcoming, I feel, is that the screw package, according to the manufacturer, is only available that would complement an aluminum color, and that's regrettable because you have exposed fasteners, and it just doesn't make sense to me that you would engineer and design such an elegant solution to so many different door problems and then not have brown screws to complement the color of the body. But given the advantages of the closer, one might agree or conclude to overlook that one shortcoming. Now, there is a link below this video to the installation instructions, and they are, of course, included with your material. What you're going to see is determining the arrangement of the door closer is dependent on the swing of the door. So as we're looking at this installation, where the large portion of the body is towards the hinges, this is coming from the factory to work with a typical left-hand door that would be mounted on the pull side of the door. Now, if you needed to reverse this over, you'll reverse the body, but you're going to remove that screw, take the track assembly, flip it over, and then install it down here underneath this cap that will pop off. Anyway, I don't want to hurt the fingernails, but that will easily pop off. I've already moved it somewhat loose. So you'll just have to reverse that, and that's demonstrated in line 1. Now, alternatively, this would work for an application that would be appropriate for a door that would be mounted on the push side for a left hand as well. You're either going to install it with the body on the header for a pull side application, or you're going to flip it around for a, well, forgive me, this would be for a right hand installation. Out of the box, it's already set up to do a left-hand door when you're mounting it on the pull side. Or if you actually have a door that swings out, which would properly be called a left-hand reverse application, or a right-hand door that swings out. This closer will do that without having to switch the arm. So left hand when mounting on the pull side, right hand when mounting on the push side. It's that simple. You'll switch it if you have the other circumstance. So what I'll do is visually show you the closer. And then as you're looking at this, if you have the installation instructions open, you'll be able to see how that correlates. You're dealing with this you're dealing with this here, template number 3, or you're over here at template number 2. And we're going to talk about those different templates. Swap the arm should you need to. It's very simple and straightforward. I'm not going to demonstrate that in the video. There is a parts list down below that does show you all the parts that are included, which is basically the door closer, the screws to hold the main arm onto the body, and then the screw pack. Installation starts on the second page, really, and you just simply have to determine what is the door that you're installing it on, and double check everything. Do a reality check. Associate that to a template number, and then pull out the template that's included. There is template 1 and 2 on this page, and the diagrams are given there as well. That's 1. 2 is there. 3 and 4 are on the other side. Okay? And you're going to, once you determine that, you're going to focus on that template alone. Arrange the template to account for your installation as shown on the installation instructions. Pull side, push side, push side. Okay? You don't have to measure anything. All the measuring's done on the template. Mark your holes through the template. I would mark them, just indicate them with a pencil. I would then do a reality check. I would measure the closer. I would stand back and look at the installation instructions. You don't want to drill a hole in the wrong position because a second look before drilling a hole was really the better idea. The old, not to say that it's a proverb, but in the woodworking industry, it's probably a commandment. Measure twice and cut once, naturally. So double check everything, and once you know that your dimensions are accurate, center punch everything. Take a tack hammer or a hammer, whatever, and a center punch everything. Be mindful of any sort of glass that you've got in the door. You don't want to rattle that or break it. Then you're going to pre-drill all your holes. Now, no installation guidance is given to that degree, but what the factory has done is they have provided some self-drilling screws, and I'm not really sure where they're intended. And admittedly, I'm not incredibly confident that this screw package is even appropriate for this door. Well, I take that back. That's actually not correct. There are 4, okay, it's correct. There are 4 short screws. I should say there are 2 sets of 4 short screws. Wood screws, and then screws intended for a metal application that have a drill point. There are 2 sets of longer screws, wood and metal. The metal have a drill point, so that will work fine. You'll want to center punch, and then I like to pre-drill even with those self-drilling points because I don't want the drill bit to walk at all before it pierces into the material, wood or steel or metal. So you'll mark that, and it'll give you nice, properly drilled holes to get them the screws installed, and obviously pre-drill them. You don't want to split anything, or even worse, well, not worse, but if you're trying to force a screw into a hole that's not the proper pre-drilled size, and you shear that head off, because these are, screws for fastening hardware are not grade 9 screws or grade 4 or 5 screws. You can shear them. You don't want to have a stuck screw in there. Proper size, and the way I was taught was the diameter of the body of the screw is what you're drilling, not the diameter of the screws threads themselves. So just whatever that body would be. Okay, so you'll be able to pre-drill those. And if you're really getting an excessive amount of force required to spin it in, you probably want to make that hole a little bit larger. But once you have all the holes marked, you're simply going to attach everything accordingly. The track, dependent on its installation, is either going to be mounted through these face holes, if you're dealing with a pull side mount, okay, or through the holes to the underneath, here and here, if you're going up into the header. If you're doing I've got it actually held upside down. If you're going into a push side installation through this hole and this hole up into the header, okay. Now, the hold open we had talked about, I had asked the factory because nowhere in the installation instructions indicates this as a hold open, although we had asked for a hold open. In the factory, I asked, what's the point of hold open? The response was just past 89 degree. Okay. Either literally meaning just past 89 degree or cheeky and meaning 90 degree. So when I get that arm right to there, it's not holding open, but when I get it brought out to maybe 120 degree or 110 degree, it's going to start to hold open, and then does so at what's probably 125 degree, just guessing. Okay, so that will hold open. You don't want to have your fingers here when that arm comes closed. It is pulling with a substantial amount of closing power, which is where that rating is going to come from. And I think that this will operate very well for your installation. Now, there is here the speed adjusting screw that will allow you to control the overall time that the door closer closes through, which would be the sweep speed, really. Camera got a little funny on us. The sweep speed from basically before hold open to close. Just one valve control on there, so you'll be able to control that. You might want to slow the door closer down because you routinely will walk through with packages, and otherwise just having the door take, 12 seconds rather than 6 seconds to close. Suit your needs, whatever it might be. I don't know what the total range is because I've not installed this closer, but I'm going to in the future and then add a secondary video. That concludes everything here. With the package, you're going to get the installation instructions. You will get the template. I'm going to repackage this item and then show you what it looks like in its display packaging. And here we have the repackaged closer. That's what it looks like. If you're a lock shop, if you're a hardware store, this display packaging is perfect for you. It is really inexpensive. If you're a lock shop or a neighborhood hardware store or a building engineer for a condo association, having access to these closers and display them is simple in terms of justifying it because they're capable, they're elegant, they're inexpensive, and they're effective. They're not handicap compliant in that sense. However, these are not going to be installed in those areas where you need independent valve control over all of the different aspects of the door closer. Would not be appropriate for lots of doors because it's not rated for any sort of grade, like grade 2, 500,000 cycles, or grade 1. But I've never heard of one of these failing. But you're going to install it probably in a residential application, so I think it's an ideal solution for you. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the global products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the global TC901 brown door closer, or any other global, or white for that matter, or any other global product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much.